Guys, looks like Poilievre's stirring up some poop in Parliament. The Liberal NDP might get split up, but probably not fully split. There might be a confidence vote on the carbon tax and also the tax on the carbon tax and tax on fuel, home heating fuel. Let's hope that includes gas and electric and any other fuel that it takes to heat your home. We got Jagmeet Singh on the radio. Let's have a listen to what he's got to say about this.
We remain an opposition party, so we can always vote against Liberals, and we have a number of times. On this point, all Canadians want to do their part to fight the climate crisis. I've met with people over the summer across the country, Atlantic provinces, Halifax, which saw flooding, worst of its kind one month, and saw extreme forest fires the other month. Like, this is extreme weather in Atlantic provinces, across the prairies. We saw forest fires. We saw forest fires affecting the air quality in Ottawa, which has never happened before. In Toronto, we saw.
Whoa, let's just stop it there a minute. He's talking about forest fires all over and everywhere. These are fires that were caused by arsonists, and we have forest fires anyway. And if you think carbon tax is going to stop climate issues or the natural heating of the earth, why hasn't it done it yet? We've had it for years. It's just, no, I can't listen to that bit. Let's listen to the bit that we'll come to listen to, not the preaching about what's happened in the world. I'll fast forward it a bit.
Serious, but what the Liberals propose is really pitting one region against another, and that is not how you build a nation. That's not how you fight climate crisis. Saying if you voted for us, then you get relief. If you don't get relief. That's no way to bring people together. And so really we reject the climate denial of the Conservatives, but we also reject this divisive approach of the Liberals, and we're sending that message.
Is this some kind of fight against the climate action that the Liberals are bringing in? Or are you fighting for votes?
We really believe in climate action. That makes us different from the Conservatives who really don't believe that there's a concern here, and they don't have a plan to fight the climate crisis, nor will they in the election. We differ on that. We think there is absolutely a need to fight the climate crisis. But where we disagree with the Liberals is that we don't think it should be about pitting one region of the country against another. So it was clear to us that that's what the Liberals were doing, that they were trying to play favorites, and that's not fair. People look at that and say, well, why are some people getting an advantage and some people aren't? Why are some people getting a break and some other folks aren't? It's just not fair. What we proposed, our plan would be to take, instead of looking at the carbon price, we said, let's take the GST off of home heating. We take GST off of essentials. In a cold country like ours, GST on home heating, removing that makes sense. It follows our principles. And that would help all Canadians because there's a separate carbon tax in BC that doesn't benefit from federal carbon pricing. And Quebec also doesn't have a federal program. They've got their own. And the Northwest Territories. So GST off home heating would help everybody. Let's tax the oil and gas companies that are making record profits, and then put that towards helping people get things like a heat pump in their home or better insulation or better windows.
You know what pees me off the most about all of this climate stuff? It's the fact that all these politicians earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year sort of think that we all earn hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and we can all just go out and buy a $60,000 to $100,000 electric car. We can just go and exchange our furnaces for heat pumps. We can pay for electricity freely. Electricity is really expensive. Like, you run your AC all summer, you know it costs a lot of money. It just seems to think that everyone can afford what they can afford. They're so detached these days from you and me, from the working class people who pay their wages and pay taxes. All this climate stuff does, it just makes poorer, or even middle class people poorer. That's all it does. It just piles on and piles on and piles on to people. What's Singh going to do about that?
Oh, I would extend that to just working class people, not even just the folks that are poor. I'm finding that people that have good jobs are saying, I don't know how I'm going to afford any more increases to my mortgage because I'm really at the limit right now. I'm barely just squeezing by with my mortgage payment, cost of groceries that's up, all my bills that are up, and now we've got a summer or a winter coming up where we're worried about how we're going to afford to heat our homes. Like, that's a real concern for just working Canadians, I would say. Not even, I mean, I can't imagine how hard it is for people that have lower incomes right now. Like, it's just tough to imagine how they're able to afford anything. People with good jobs are complaining to me, saying, like, I got a decent wage, but I still don't know how I'm going to keep food on the table and a roof over my head. It's tough. So yeah, I agree that when you're struggling with these things, that becomes your number one priority. But I would still say Canadians believe in fighting the climate crisis. By and large, they get that this is a problem. We just need to do it in a way that actually respects where people are at.
One thing that we can be sure of is that the only reason Justin Trudeau's done this is because his polling numbers are in the toilet. But what about NDP? Is Singh doing this because his polling numbers are low and he wants to jump them up a little bit and try and get on the good side of middle class and lower class, lower income voters?
We're at a strong point, I think, about when I started and where we've got to. We've grown our base of support significantly. We just look at this really as fairness. This is a question of fairness, and it's a fundamental question, I think, when it comes down to any policy. People want to know, hey, are we being treated fairly? And right now, that's not how they feel. They feel like, well, the minister came out and said it. The Liberals, basically, Justin Trudeau, effectively endorsed this because he was his cabinet minister. The minister came out and said, when asked, well, why is this only being offered for the Atlantic region, pretty much, she came out and said, well, if other regions wanted it, they should have voted Liberal.
Perhaps they need to elect more Liberals on the prairies.
And the subtext was, the prairies want it, and they're not getting it, and the prairies did not vote Liberal. And that really is not how politics should be when it comes to fighting something like the climate crisis. It shouldn't be hitting one region against another. To have a policy on fighting the climate crisis that depends on who you vote for is wrong. And that's what we're saying. We disagree with this divisive approach of the Liberals. But we also want to be clear, we don't agree with the Conservatives on the fact that they don't have a climate plan. We fully believe in fighting back. And there's ways to do that understand the cost of living crisis and give people the support they need to make the right choices.
Okay, then let's get down to the brass tacks of what we come here to listen to. Is the relationship between the NDP and the Liberal Party coming to an end?
Well, we have a number of really big projects that we're working on. We want to get dental care out to seniors and to kids 18 and under and people living with disabilities. That project is coming very close to fruition. We're going to see that happen, and we're not going to let the Liberals off the hook. So we're going to keep on pushing to make that happen. And when I say let the Liberals off the hook, what I mean is they would love to walk away from that. They committed to doing that because we forced them to. And if we let them off the hook, in the sense we don't continue to force them to do that, they'll abandon that program. They voted against it. The Conservatives voted against it. So in the past, so they don't want to see this happen. We're forcing them to do it, and we're going to make that happen.
I'll spare you the rest of that interview because he just waffles on about his health things that he's doing and more of the dental and all this other stuff, which is good. It's good that he's doing it. But I'll tell you now, he isn't going to break up the coalition. That's for sure. He will not break it up. He's keeping it going right up until his pension kicks in 2025. Okay? So, yeah, if you come here to hear that, no, that isn't going to happen. Anyway, but there will be a vote. And I think it's going to go the way of, I think by the new year, fingers crossed, carbon tax is going to be I think it'll be paused until 2025, and then we're going to have the vote, the election built around the carbon tax. Do you want it or do you not want it? You're going to have to vote for it. And people who vote for Liberal are the people who want extra tax. People who vote for Poilievre don't want extra tax. People who vote for NDP, they're just lost. Till next time.